Ted Baker was founded in 1987 and opened its first store in Glasgow, quickly followed by King Street, Manchester and Nottingham. Ted Baker's strategy is to become a world-leading designer lifestyle brand, and to achieve this, it has focused on three main areas: considered expansion of collections, controlled distribution channels, and new international markets. Burberry was founded in 1856 when 21-year-old Thomas Burberry, a former draper's apprentice, opened his first store in Basingstoke. By 1870, the business had established itself by focusing on the development of outdoor attire. The Burberry strategy is to nurture and evolve the Burberry brand, continue to develop and expand the product portfolio, expand the operated store network, connected to build wholesale distribution, support growth in Japan, and enhance operation capabilities. A personal analysis on the clothing industry has been done to see what external influences affect Burberry and Ted Baker. Political interest has significantly shaped the international trading agreements. These agreements were officially ended on the 1st of January 2005, but the rules of trade remain complicated and continue to change rapidly. Economic. In 2001, the USA had the highest price of producing cotton, but brought down the price artificially, creating difficulties for developing countries for whom the cotton could be a significant fraction of total export. Sociological. The main concerns are child labour. There is also a concern that it may not be possible to escape from the cycle of poverty with only the minimum wage. Also, there are major occupational health issues such as hazardous chemicals, fibre dust and noise. Technological. A new development by Estonia has provided a solution for ill-fitting returns with the virtual fitting room that includes a shape-shifting robotic mannequin that takes down the customer's body measurements and mimics his shape so he can see exactly how a particular piece of clothing would fit him. Environmental. Use of toxic chemicals which may harm human health, and the release of chemicals in wastewater, especially in wet pre-treatment, dyeing, finishing and laundry, which may harm water-based life. Legal. National minimum wage rate from October 1st, 2012 is £6.19 for adults, and there have been multiple child labour laws created to protect children. As you can see from the map, Burberry sells expensive products which are high quality. They are also a rather large company, having 450 stores in 31 countries. Burberry have many competitors, for example Ralph Lauren, who are in the same sector, and Chanel, who also sell high quality products but have fewer stores worldwide. Compared to Burberry, Ted Baker has products which are slightly cheaper. Also, Ted Baker has less stores, only 153. However, this may be due to the fact that they only opened their first store in 1987. From looking at the map, you can see that Ted Baker competes against Armani Exchange, who are in a similar sector, and Accessorize, who sell cheaper products. Burberry and Ted Baker's customers and suppliers have a low to moderate power. Therefore, these companies should continue to innovate and sustain its relevance and positioning. Looking at the luxury industry trends, it is evident that there is an increased growth in luxury spending from emerging nations and the rise of e-tailing. The consumers in the industry have a low switching cost, and supplier powers also is decreased through competition, for example from manufacturers in low-wage regions such as China and India. Threat of entry of new competitors. The threat of new entrants for both companies can be argued to be strong, as there is a large room for small players in the market. However, establishing a business to the level of these two companies can take a few years. The luxury retail sector has shown rates in growth in recent years in the Asia-Pacific luxury goods market. The threat of substitutes in the luxury retail industry is relatively strong for both Burberry and Ted Baker. This is because there is a wide range of well-established luxury brands that exist that offer similar products with similar prices. Burberry customers can easily switch to their rivalry Louis Vuitton or Gucci, as they are more diverse. The same goes for Ted Baker. Consumers can easily move to other brands such as Paul Smith. Intensity of competitive rivalry. The intensity has been considered to be a moderate for Burberry and strong for Ted Baker. As mentioned, this is due to a high level of well-established competitors who are more diverse with their products. When comparing the SWOT analysis of Burberry and Ted Baker, it is evident that they have similar strengths. Both companies have expanded globally and have increased their distribution channels. However, Burberry appears to have the stronger branding. Ted Baker have done exceptionally well this year, and sales are expected to shoot up during the Christmas period. Burberry and Ted Baker have cost weaknesses that affect their turnovers. In the case of Burberry, the cost issues are more related to weak efficiency, whereas Ted Baker faces more expenses towards expansion. This year, all businesses have had the opportunity to take advantage of the London 2012 Olympic Games. Ted Baker created an entire clothing and gift guide inspired by this event. Burberry gained an increase in sales. The company's efforts were more concentrated on digital space as online shopping has become a massive trend, and Burberry, with its strong brand equity, has established its presence in an online retail format. Burberry and Ted Baker have similar threats as they operate in the same industry of luxury goods. They face the everyday rivalry of other brands. The slowdown in the economy means that customers have less disposable income. There's always a threat of customers switching to other brands that suit their needs further, as trends in fashion are constantly changing. And over the years, there have been an increase in counterfeits. This highly affects both companies as fakes devalue the whole purpose of the high-end brands. Looking at the table, we can see that Ted Baker and Burberry have common competencies. These are endorsing the brand through advertising, featuring celebrities such as David Beckham and Kate Moss. Marketing capability and strategy for both brands is to identify product values and attributes, and to continue market penetration and investment in product development. Control distribution through three main channels: retail, wholesale, and licensing. Apart from these competencies, Ted Baker allow their customers to customize their own designs through Ted Baker's official website. Burberry has a similar competency, as digital innovation is a big desire for the firm in order to connect the customers directly to the brand. We decided that the brand name that both companies have created for themselves gives them a competitive advantage. Burberry has built up their reputation over 150 years, which means that it's not easy for other companies to do, and Burberry can easily identify upcoming competitors. There are other companies that customers can go to, however the reputation of that brand may not be as great, as a lot of invested time, as well as other factors, go into creating a successful brand name. These are costly to imitate and create barriers for other companies. On the other hand, the amount of brand awareness that Ted Baker has created can be easily imitated. This may be because they have only been operating for 24 years, which is quite easy for other companies to achieve. Also, Ted Baker follows fashion trends, which a lot of companies can imitate, unlike Burberry, who focus on their own specific pattern, which they have been using since 1856. A McKinsey 7S analysis was carried out to compare the two companies. Just to mention a few differences between the companies, they are differently strategically positioned, as one being a luxurious brand and the other having more of a niche profile. Skills. Burberry was established in 1910, and if it didn't have the right resources, it would not have been as successful as it is today. Whereas Ted Baker was founded much later and still has a lot of work to do before they've reached the same level of results as Burberry. Style. A part of the information on the slide, Burberry's board of directors is equally represented by men and women, unlike Ted Baker, which only has one female director. Staff. Burberry has a highly developed award scheme, for example, free share plan, which allows associates and ownership of the business. They also have the Icon Award program, which recognizes exceptional performance at an entry level. The Long Service program celebrates and recognizes long-term commitment starting at a 5-year milestone. Ted Baker has also got a strong recognition of high performance, but Burberry's programs are much more extended. Shared values. Both companies are believed to have a very strong company culture embraced by its employees. We have done a financial comparison using figures presented by the companies themselves. Burberry is clearly the bigger company, and when looking at the major differences in revenue and profit, one can see that Burberry has had a continued increase, whereas Ted Baker presented a decrease from 2008 to 2010. This might be due to the recession. The share prices of both companies were at one point somewhat similar in 2008 and quite low. This also may be due to the recession. But since then, Burberry's share prices have risen to £14.97, whereas Ted Baker's shares are worth around £8.25. Burberry's shares have more than tripled its value, but Ted Baker's shares are only worth about double than what they were in 2008. A ratio analysis can tell us Ted Baker has presented higher percentages in terms of return on capital employed in 2 of the years that were examined. It was only this year, 2012, that Burberry presented higher figures as they had had a very successful year. From comparing the internal and external analysis of both companies, one can draw the conclusion that Burberry is the stronger of the two. This may be because they've been operating longer, which has allowed them to build a reputation and gain experience in the clothing industry. Also, they have a unique product which they market to a specific audience. However, the analysis also indicates that both companies will continue to be successful as long as they are aware of the external factors and have an appropriate and realistic strategy to overcome them and achieve their aims.